One more thing that does lead to success in A&S, it's a little something we like to call time on feet. Trent, you want to talk about what time on feet is?
It's exactly what it sounds like. You're going to be spending a lot of time on your feet.
Yep.
So there's been a lot of research. Been a lot of people talking about this stuff. It's you just need to spend more time on your feet. Like, it's a different world we live in than a lot of us grew up in. And yet, not only is it easier to spend more time like sitting down, staring at a screen or whatever, like it's expected in a lot of ways. Like if you're in college and all those other things, or high school, so find a way to spend more time on your feet. Like if you go for a run, go for a walk afterwards. You know, like and it doesn't have to be anything crazy, but the number of issues we have with the muscular skeletal issues, lower leg issues, it's huge, and it's going to cause problems. So and that starts in BMT. You're going to spend a lot of time on your feet in BMT, and you're going to go to SWIC, spend a lot of time on your feet. At A&S, you're going to spend a lot of time on your feet, and then we're going to try to drown you in between those things. So it's going to be fun.
It's going to be totally great. There's a lot of research to suggest, 4 to 10,000 steps a day has ridiculous health benefits. The only reason that study even exists is because the scientific community looked at humans today and they're like, wow, these dudes sit around a lot. They are not on their feet at all. And we see that in lower leg injuries, shin splints, and all these other things. So the more time that you can stand on your feet, if you can stand. Whatever you're doing in your life, put your weight on your legs, walk around. I know that it might be a short trip to the grocery store. Maybe it's a mile away or something. Maybe walk that mile. Maybe one time a week, go take a walk. You don't even necessarily have to ruck. We're not telling you that you need to do these huge rucking programs for A&S. There's newsflash, boys and girls. There's not a rucking standard. None of our PT tests right now have a rucking standard. You're going to be held to a standard on rucks. But until you get to the CFT and the OFT, or the CFT, does it have a ruck?
Yeah.
Okay, so the CFT has a ruck. The ruck is exceptionally easy. It's not fast at all. And for the shape that you're going to be in, it's not fast. And I'll tell you, the OFT, as a matter of fact, like everything else has a minimum, that ruck has a maximum. Like it just says, get this done in 49 minutes and you're good. But the point is try to get it done as close to that time limit as you possibly can. It's not fast. It's not heavy. It just, when you do that over and over and over again, it leads to those lower leg injuries. So get time on your feet. Make sure that your run times are low. Give yourself a little bit of bandwidth and really start developing yourself and indoctrinating yourself into the culture, right? If you're behind, you need to catch up. If you're ahead, you need to reach back and help those people behind you because you guys are going as a team. The other thing that we just dropped, the other thing that's going to happen inside of your development phase is the folks down at SWIC, which we're going to talk about in a second, the Special Warfare Candidate course. They have designed a 16-week program, or it's a 20-week program, a 20-week program for pre-accession strength conditioning, cardiorespiratory fitness. It's a whole workout program meant to take you through 20 weeks of preparation prior to you getting to BMT. We are going to drop it here as soon as we can. It's in the final stages of getting approved. We are going to blast that thing out wide. So go check out the Discord. Go check out our onesready.com page. We're going to link to it. We're going to have this thing for y'all. Let me just have some expectation management. You might personally look at this program and go, oh, I don't need this. And it's way further. No, that's the baseline. Okay. If you're crushing your IFT, if you're getting, top 95%, if you're king of the development program or queen of the development program, wherever it is that you are, fine. It might not be for you, but for 95% of the other people, this program is really going to get you ready for the stresses that you're going to see, because from what I understand, it focuses on a lot of the weak areas. They basically looked at where are students failing and what are we seeing that's weak. And then they designed a program to shore up those weaknesses to make you a more well-rounded athlete. So that's coming out soon. Can't wait to see it. The Special Warfare Candidate folks, Candidate course folks are amazing. They're awesome. We just did a full deep dive with all those cats, and we're going to have a swim coach on because somebody hopped up in the comments because we were bagging on swim coaches, and they were like, let us come on and talk about how good the swim coaches are because you guys gave us crap. I was like, all right, tight. We're going to have a swim coach on too. So it'll be our second swim coach on if you count Half Acre, if you count Jeb.
I count Jeb. Jeb's awesome.
What
if I want a more like personalized workout program though, that from somebody that definitely knows how to make me successful, not only for the IFT, but the entire pipeline. Where would I go for that?
I'm glad you brought that up. I would go to 18 Alpha Fitness myself. So Coach Kevin Edgerton runs 18 Alpha Fitness. He was a prior 18 Alpha guy. So the 18 X-ray, he was an officer. He's a jiu-jitsu practitioner. He was a strength and conditioning coach in the AFSPEC War training wing for a long time. And then he went his own way, and he's devoted his life and his business interests towards helping candidates get ready for every single assessment selection out there. So Edge walks people through from cradle to grave. Like you can do all this on your own. I'm a testament to that. Like you can be stupid and you can train on your own and you can actually make it. I'll tell you what, it was not easy for me. And I wish that I had Coach Edgerton, because he gives video coaching. He gives personalized workout plans. He has plans not just for assessment selection, but if you want to be a better jiu-jitsu practitioner, man, go get his kettlebell for jiu-jitsu fitness program. It is a life changer. It is completely different. Edge and I have been in talks. I am going to test that program all the way through. I'm recovering from a little surgery, and as soon as I'm clear to work out 100% again, I'm going to Coach Edge, and I'm getting that jiu-jitsu kettlebell for a jiu-jitsu program. So go check him out, 18 Alpha Fitness. You can find him on anything that we do because we tag him in everything. So go look at 18 Alpha Fitness. We have a code for you, as always, because he's a good friend of ours, and we want to collaborate to help you get not just through the pipeline, but through your entire career, right? Like just make you strong, durable, harder to kill. Check out 18 Alpha Fitness. The code is 1, like the number 1, ready, all in one word. Code 1 ready over at 18 Alpha Fitness. Go check out Coach Edge and that program. All right, y'all, welcome back. Little technical difficulties because I'm an idiot, but we all know this. So we just got done talking about 18 Alpha Fitness. Go check them out. 1 ready. That's our code over with 18 Alpha Fitness. Go check them out. So that gets us to basic training. And Trent was saying just before we hit record here the second time, are we only at basic training? Yes. All right. So you're in the SWOV program. Again, you do not have a job yet. You're just in a bucket of people that want to be special warfare operators. They don't know what it is. You think you want to be an SR person, airman, tight. So we're going to BMT. Is there anything different for the SR candidates in BMT?
Yeah. There's some of our coaches go over there. You get some separate workouts. You get some pool time.
You're in your own flight.
It's not going to be stuff that's going to make you better. And especially because you're in BMT and your cortisol levels are jacked up, because you're in a new environment. I don't care who you are. It's a stressful environment. And so you're going to have a little extra PT. Excuse me. I get all excited to talk about basic training,
I love it. It's a gateway to the Air Force, Trent. Everybody loves it. So
yeah.
The other thing that you want to think about during BMT, hey, I get that you want to be a high speed, door kicking, drone flying, electromagnetic spectrum having, pewter beret wearing, or you guys are gray. Pewter is sear. Oh man, imagine. You want to be this high speed airman that's tight. You have to be in the Air Force first. You have to give all of your attention to BMT. We have harped on it a bunch of times. I get it. You're going to be in AFSPEC war. This is not something to gloss over, because if you suck at BMT, people are going to realize that when there's a challenge that you don't think is important to you, you don't give it your 100%. Trent, go ahead, Trent.
A bunch of Navy SEALs don't have to go through like Navy boot camp, just like everybody else.
No, they do.
Oh,
yeah.
And Green Berets and Rangers and MARSOC bros, everybody has to go through their service boot camp and just.
What if I told you that the highest speed operators in every single service, SEAL Team 6, Delta Force, Marines, they all have to go through basic training. And guess what? If you suck at basic training, your friends look at you and they go, oh, you can't even do basic training, right? Oh, okay, cool. No, I'm sure you're going to be the highest speed special operator. Again, there's no light switch. The way you do anything is the way you do everything. Shout out to Dan Holloway and Citizen Pod. I stole your statement, but no big deal. You're smarter than me. You have a way bigger following. Nobody even hears us. So
he's got the beard. It's the beard for Dan.
Fantastic. So we get through basic training, right? Done. We move on. We go to SWIC. We just did a whole episode on SWIC, so we're not going to get too far into it. What are some things? The biggest thing that I want to talk about for SR and SWIC is that this is where you're going to declare what you want to be assessed for. Okay, so at about how long is it in SWIC? Where do they declare for which job?
So I think in basic, you put down on a piece of paper what you want to do.
Okay,
and then in SWIC, you do the same thing. And in SWIC, it's more to parse out between TAC-Ps and the GA-ST, Guardian Angel ST guys, Special Tactics guys.
Yep.
And then when you get to ANS is when the actual determination is made. But it's when you start to like really figure out where you want to go. And so it's little steps first, right? Like, do you want to go TAC P or do you want to go this other way? You know, like, do you want to be a combat diver or do you want to be a land animal? And
right.
You know, it is what it is. And I'm not saying TAC Ps can't swim. There's a lot of great swimmers over there. TAC Ps, I love you. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm not sorry. What am I apologizing for? 7
million of them. Like, just by, sheer numbers, it'd be really bad to make all those dudes mad. Like, if I'll tell you what, if those TAC P kids could read and ever coordinate, we'd be in a lot of trouble. Thank goodness. Yeah. Sorry, Rose. So you're gonna finally raise your hand and say, okay, I want to be an SR airman. One time in basic, and then in SWIC, they're going to evaluate you, and they'll be like, okay, cool. You get out of SWIC. There is a little bit of something called PRT. We're not going to talk too much about it. It's very super secret. It's got a whole bunch of stuff. Like, you were gonna. It's a good one. So we'll let you decide how much you like it after you're done. And then it's a quick trip over, and we go to assessment selection. Okay, this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where you put forth all of those things that you've been training for, all of the months and possibly years that you spent training for it. You got to go to A&S. We have the secret for you, everybody. We have the number one thing that you can do to get picked up. Be a good dude and put out. Easy, right? Every single podcaster in the world says the same thing. Well, the Air Force
so cliche now.
Yeah, be a good dude and put out. There you go. Now, so we've talked about A&S a million times. Assessment selection. It's an attributes based selection model. There are several attributes that they're looking for. They want to see you holistically perform as a person that has the raw material, right? We're buying you. You are raw material. So essentially, the cadre are looking at all of this raw material. You might start with 110 folks, and they're looking at 110 folks, and they're going, okay, who has the raw materials that we need to build you into the operator that we're going to need for the next fight? That's no kidding what they're doing. And it's everything from psychological evaluation to physical evaluation to personal evaluation. They want to see everything that you do lead to being a better operator. Assessment selection is 4 weeks long. And at the end of assessment selection, you've been assessed, and then they will select you. So Trent, can you talk us through how to get the job you want? We've raised our hand. We say, I want to be an SR operator. How does that work through assessment?
So every career field gets a percentage of the selects, right? Based on the size of the career field. And it's one of those weird things where the percentages usually just kind of work out, like based on how many folks want to be PJs selects, how many selects want to be PJs, combat controllers, and SR guys. And so I think SR is getting like 10 to 15% of the selects right now. And then these numbers vary a little bit throughout the year, right? Like if we have fewer people, one select class that want to be SR and more the next class, like so the percentages just have to kind of work out at the end of the year. And so we try to give the performers what they want. But if you're at the bottom of the class and there's only one thing left and it's, something that wasn't your number one choice, at that point, your choice is be part of the community or don't be part of the community.
Right.
And here,
And here are the options. I love boiling it down to like brass tacks. Option number one is you put out, you're a good dude or dudette, and you get selected for the job that you want. This happens 99% of the time. Almost 99% of the time, if you make it through, you're selected, and the instructors say you have the raw material that we want, and they have the percentage available for you, you're going to get your job. So we say 99%. I still haven't, I don't think we've still had anybody come back and be like, well, I was selected, but they told me I couldn't have my number one job. I had to take my number two. I still haven't heard that story yet.
We've had Chief Nate Cox on the podcast. And I don't know if you notice, he's a pretty straight shooter. And I don't think he would lie to me about this.
No,
so
he hasn't. Yeah. So
this is where I get it from.
Yeah, we say 99%. We mean 100%, but when you start speaking in absolutes, that's when people on the internet start, well, actually. So listen, okay, 99%, you're going to get your job. That's COA 1. COA 2, course of action number 2, is that you get selected. However, they don't have room for you in your career field. And by the way, this means that you didn't perform. This means that other people beat you out, right? So when we're talking about this thing here, it's you made it through the assessment, you were selected, but you weren't good enough to get into the top spots. If there were 5 spots, this means you placed 6th. So again, the number one thing that you can do to get your job is perform and be the best. To quote Chief TJ Gunnell, be the best. It's a competition. It's a job interview, but these people are trying to take your job. You want the job? Go win. If you don't win and you're still selected, you could have the opportunity to do a different job. And as you just said, and it was perfect the way you said it, you're either going to be in the community or you're not. Let's say you're trying to be a special reconnaissance airman and you don't make the cut for special reconnaissance, but they tell you that you can go. They're like, hey, your skills are good. We want you to go try to be a TAC P. Your skills are good. We want you to try to go be a controller. If you want to stomp your feet and you don't want to accept that, okay, that's fine. Maybe go do a different job in the Air Force. And, thanks for coming out. The third COA that you can have here is that you won't be selected. There's a couple of different things can happen here. Maybe you're just not good enough for the job. Maybe you weren't physically prepared. Maybe the cadre saw something in you that they thought wasn't going to be conducive to being a good candidate. Whatever that is, you cannot quit. You can get all the way through and you cannot be selected. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that? That's
fine. There's it just like how 99% of the people get what they want that are selected. 99% of the people that are not selected, it's because of physical performance.
Right.
We don't have, we're selecting for the base standard here to get in the community, which you have to be a pretty terrible person for that to be the reason, the sole reason why you don't get picked up. You know what I mean? Because there's and we select people with reservations. Like if you're at the bottom of the select pool, your paperwork is probably going to be select with reservations, right? Like keep an eye on this person. But if you're not picked up, more than likely it's just physical performance. Like you didn't say I quit, but it's just like, hey, you're last at everything. You're not, you're just not there yet. And this is not a personal process. This is a very impersonal process, and people are just assessing you. I mean, come back in 2 years. That's almost always what happens. Like, hey, good try. Come on back. Give it another go.
And you'll get good feedback. They'll tell you why it is that you didn't make it. They'll tell you what it is that you need to work on. You'll get a good out brief and you'll understand it before you part ways with the Chapman Training Annex and get over there. But, to be honest with you, it's pretty cut and dry because if you didn't meet the physical standard or you quit, we know what happened. What happened. You don't even need somebody to tell you.
That's what I'm saying. We hear every once in a while, oh, they didn't sit me down and give me line by line what I didn't do right. It's like, hey, if you can't see where you stacked up with everybody else, if you had no idea that you were in the back of the pack, then maybe this wasn't for you anyway.
Right.
At least not today. If your ego can't overcome the fact that you weren't performing as well as everybody else,
right?
And you're lying to yourself, then give it some space, figure it out, and then maybe come back.
Right. Yeah. Not quitting is the expectation. That's not the end goal. Not quitting is the expectation. That is the bottom of the barrel. You're not. Yeah. No kidding. You're not supposed to quit. All right. So assessment selection happens. You're good. That's a 4-week time period, and immediately, so you graduate that course on a Friday, and on Monday you enter pre-dive because SR are all divey boys now. What's that?
They're all divey boys.
All divey boys.
Pre-dive is exactly what it says. It's getting you ready for dive school. So psychologically for the students, pre-dive is the first time that you're not going to get babysat. You show up, you do your job, you do exactly what you're told with the equipment that you're told to show up with, and then you go back, you recover, you eat as much as you can, show up the next day, knock out these tasks. It's a very task-driven course, and there are things that you have to do, the standards you have to meet before we're going to ship you off to dive school. So A&S is like a point where we decide to invest more in you because you've shown that you're willing to invest back the other way. And then pre-dive is really where you show that you're 100% invested in the process. You're going to do exactly what you have to do to get through the rest of the pipeline.
Yeah. And to make it through. And that's a great point. That this is the first time. Assessment and selection is, do you have the raw materials that we need to build you into this? And when you move into pre-dive, it's like, okay, well, the cadre have essentially co-signed for you at that point. They're like, we think that this person can make it through the pipeline. And then pre-dive is your first opportunity to prove that.